What's good? We're back. Welcome to the Course Café. On today's episode, we'll run through this week's swing thoughts, not for golf, how we got here, no more photo shoots, a rant and creative direction. We'll also talk through drops of the week and a few messages from the group chat. Let's get into it. So first, I wanted to start out by saying I have not watched a single minute of the full swing yet. It's not because I'm not interested. It's more of a time crunch situation. It seems like we're getting another year of mixed reviews for the show again. I do think what would level up these shows, but would be incredibly hard to logistically handle, would be similar to what Hard Knocks does. As fans, we watch what's happening in real time, and when moments pop up, there's a little bit more drawn to wondering what is happening on the ground level, and knowing each week that they're going to drop an episode that captures all the moments that live TV didn't show us. Obviously, the edit is the most important aspect, and that would be the most difficult hurdle, along with what I would assume approvals that would need to get green marked, but I'll definitely find time to jump into the actual season. With the look of golf changing as much as it has, I get constant questions surrounding which brands I would like to see get into golf. I don't really care about any of that stuff. What's so great about fashion in the sport of golf is that you can really do whatever you want to do within the box that is set for each situation. You will find that some courses set very specific rules in terms of apparel, on course, and in the clubhouse. Other situations, there's literally zero conversation around what is acceptable and not. I live in the boonies. I brought that up a couple of times, and no joke, when I first moved out here, there were people wearing cutoff t-shirts at the Muni with flip-flops and basketball shorts. It was a wild experience. I had just moved back from Irvine, California, and every time I booked a round at a course, I always asked what the dress code was. And it always varied. Some felt very strongly about what you could wear, and some were more welcoming but wanted folks to be respectful. So for me, I like wearing brands that are, quote, not for golf, or sneakers that are not for golf in the sport. So when I have a situation that offers more of a playground-like environment, I like to wear brands and footwear that I love. It just comes down to wearing what you like, what makes you most comfortable both for the round, but also stepping over any hurdles that might keep you from actually participating at all. And for those situations that are a bit more tight, there's a lot out there in terms of options that won't have you looking like you're trying to look like a tour player. I think that was always the biggest point of frustration, that golf became nearly entirely performance-driven, and people just wanted something different, something to choose from. It's the longest way to say, at least right now, I don't need brands that I like to make a whole campaign and product for the sport to wear it on golf course, which leads right into a rare rant moment. I'm not a big fan of complaining about things. I think as someone who has been in the creative space professionally for as long as I have been, I have a great amount of respect for the ability to critique with action, where on the flip side of that is just complaining. If you find yourself talking something down but have no solution, to me, you're just complaining. And it's literally just a waste of everyone's time, where if you can articulate your perspective on something with context, add a layer of direction that can supply the creatives around the project a better lens to look through with a goal to build things better, that's the level of critique in what separates great creatives and great projects. I have so many examples of this, from building go-to-market asset packages and the great creative leaders that offer really good insights and adjustments, and some who just have the most vanilla feedback. So Bonobos is the latest victim within what we'll title the rough shots, which has become a group of brands that have poorly executed content direction within golf. Bonobos got ripped this last week on their content choices. They shot a golf cart on a practice green. It's bad. But I'm actually going to give them the very small benefit of the doubt. Listen to the actual original campaign spot.
What do you do with 72 hours, 18 holes, 4 friends, and 1 wedding? The absolute most. For however you fit. Bonobos.
So the campaign is to do the absolute most, right? So I would assume their version of doing the absolute most, parking a golf cart on the practice green. They also have another spot where the 3 of the friends are in the same cart and they drive by a no carts allowed sign and grab it and laugh. Is it bad? Yes. Are there better themes out there? Yes. Is this the worst out there? Probably not. We saw a lot of this last year, and it's going to keep happening. There's a lot of incredibly talented creative individuals and teams out there that have amazing ideas and can bring to life really great stories. Just please hire them. These are a few of my favorite things that dropped in golf last week. Manors dropped their Frontier Collection Volume 3. The squad just continues to prove they're a legit brand in the space. Great product, really good storytelling. Quiet Golf dropped their Spring and Summer 24 collection. This is the biggest single release from the brand. I picked up a few pieces. We'll give my take on the collection this week on IG. Make sure you follow over there. But another really great release from another brand that is building up a great portfolio. Malbon and Adidas dropped an 11-piece apparel collab, And also, Malbon dropped their new vacay shoe, which looks like a spikeless golf shoe that is structured in a way to turn into a mule for off course. Asher dropped their Color Story Volume 1, which featured apparel and gloves featuring the onyx, charcoal, and plum colorways. Gumtree Golf and Nature dropped their limited American wool head covers. Each color variations are based off the 4 seasons and flowers from their seasonal Sunday bags. FootJoy dropped new navy blue colorways of their Field, Traditions, and Packard models. And last up, Butterflower Supply dropped their divot chain. Got these in hand and love the entire execution. Just as a reminder, every Friday I drop the Golf Drops post that rounds up a whole lot of what drops each week in golf on the Golf Project's IG channel. Make sure you follow over there. You can also jump in the group chat in the broadcast channel to get your questions or take of the week featured. Let's check in with the group chat. Mono and Machine asks, is the PU leather golf bag trend getting corny? I'm sick of it, to be honest. I wouldn't say corny, probably overrated. Anytime the majority is heading down a single direction, it's a sign to probably change things up. I think overall the entire golf bag needs a complete overhaul, which would be really expensive, but I've thought about what a module type of bag would look like having the bones of a traditional stand bag, but having the ability to purchase components of the bag you feel as a golfer are important to your style of play. The thought is you could have a bunch of different types of combinations for how your bag is laid out for whatever type of round you're about to play, and you could always come back to buy new components or different color components. It then becomes this super personalized experience as opposed to somewhat generic traditional setups most bags have. Just an idea. Abel asks, what are the chances Live Golf opens up grills or lounges in airports? I wouldn't say a 0% chance this happens, but very unlikely. Liv did a deal with Reach TV last year, which streams in a bunch of airports. This makes way more sense than them trying to sell food or sponsoring lounges within airports. There is the PGA Tour Grill, which is why I would assume you asked the question. Those are actually owned by a food service company called HMS Host, and they partner with the PGA Tour to launch those concept locations. The PGA Tour has a way better brand appreciation than Liv with all their criticism and backlash. So again, just super unlikely that that actually happens. Paris hot take. I think ALD is one of the next brands to jump in on the sport. Listen, Teddy Santis grew up in Queens and was and still is heavily influenced by Ralph Lauren. So them dipping into golf wouldn't be a crazy shock, but ALD has always been a mix of 90s rap, New York, and hoops culture. It's an incredibly pure brand in that they don't really step outside of who they are at their core, which I think is the reason they have done so well on top of having like a really talented team. That focus just allows you to lock in and pull all your energy into a great product and storytelling experience that best represents your passion rather than trying to build something you think people you've never engaged with will like, if that makes any sense. Scott asked a great question. We'll close with this one. What are your top 3 niches you haven't seen do well yet in golf? I love this question so much. I think head covers has hit the same wave polos hit these last few years in that the cool thing to do is flashy, a bit corny design that gets people talking. I think because it's retained the same shape and fit for a crazy long time, people just assume this is what a head cover should look like. Matt Kang created these new shape head covers that are really dope design that I'm going to talk about in further detail this week. It's just another example of taking an item that hasn't seen much refinement and building something new. Another one is home goods, something I absolutely crush on, but just looking around in my office, like prints are popular, but what about like bookends, pots, headphone stands, candles, lamps? Like with hoops, I have this mini basketball hoop. I put all my ball markers and divot tools in this watch case. Just things around the home or your office that bring a golf aesthetic into the home and not like the whack canvas wall art pieces that gotta be one of the worst things in the sport. The last one will be a project I'm actually working on that I'll be able to talk about more in detail when I get closer to the design, getting into a place I feel more comfortable showing. Not in that I'm like, don't think you guys will like it, but more so to protect anyone from trying to copycat. This is something I think will fire up a lot of people. And again, it's one of those things I think people are sleeping on. Like, that's a fact. Remember, if you want to be in the group chat, make sure you follow on Instagram at Golf Projects and jump into the group chat broadcast channel. But that's a wrap for today's show. I hope you enjoyed the rundown. My name is Raymond. This is the Course Cafe. Peace.